Hey, how's it going everyone? Oh man, I'm so excited. Kaiju number 8 is finally here. Now, if you weren't aware, I really do like this series. I've been reading the manga since the start. I highly recommend it if you haven't been reading. And if you haven't started the anime, well, now's your chance. It has started. Whew. But anyway, I'm hoping that everyone is well aware and have already pre-ordered this figure. Now, the great thing about this release, or actually, sorry, the great thing about the Kaiju 8 figures, 3 figures, boom, Kaiju 8, Mina, Leno coming. So, quite rare, I think maybe the first time Tamashii Nations has done this, where they've put the figures up for pre-order before the series or the anime has actually come out. So yeah, right now we've got Kaiju 8, next month is Leno, and then after that is Mina, from memory. So yeah, let me move this cute little bit guy off to a side, straight up with the box. Pretty impactful design there, with Kaiju 8 himself on the front, and then on the back, you know, the standard selection of images, showcasing what he does come with. Pretty slim release overall, but he does pack a punch for what he does come with. So yeah, let's pop him out of the packaging so we can actually check out what he does come with. So, Kaiju in the center, and as you can see, he is big. He's really tall, which is awesome to see. And then we get, along with the actual figure, 3 additional faceplates, mouth open, looking off to the side. The goofy face, I'm so glad they've put that in. I mean, yeah, sure, he's missing the nipple pair effect. That is definitely a shame, but at least we do have the goofy face to go with him. And then we also get the closed fist, and then the kind of gripping hands. At first, that is all that was announced, and you know, I was really excited for this. I was a bit disappointed. I thought that is a little bit light, but they have come and they updated what he comes with. Maybe it was replaying from the start, maybe it's because he was too light, who knows. But we also get the power-up parts for his leg with the spikes, and then for his arm. So, a little bit of a spoiler, he does a really big attack. It basically shoots out of his leg, clamps into the ground to, like, you know, make him really solid, and then boom! That massive blast from his hand with a really impactful punch. So that is really cool that we can recreate that. I would have liked to see a few more hands. I mean, the ones he does come, it does, you know, it does the job. But I would have liked a little bit more variety at least. But you know what? We'll save, you know, those comments for the end, for the pros and cons. So for now, let's pop them out of the package, put them on the turntable, and check out the finish. So as he swings around, first off, check out the lovely teal color for his abs that runs down through his arm to his hand to his feet. That is really cool. And then we get the bone coloring for his mask, and then the spine. This is, you know, besides, I don't know, it's hard to put in words, but the back of this figure, it looks so good, so photogenic. It's not just a really basic, simple design on the back, but all the spine, all the bone structure, all the texture of the legs, the arms, the back, everything there really makes this figure pop, and yeah, really fun to look at from the back. You know, the front is looking really good as well, but I was really surprised at how much the back of this figure really stood out to me. I think it really is those spines, right? But on the face anyway, coming back up to here, we can see the black and the, you know, the skull texture for the face with the teeth running through, which is nice. The eyes are the same color as the teal on his body, so it ties in beautifully. And then yeah, just all the different texture, even on the inner part of his legs there, is coming through really crisp and clean. Same for the top. So overall, the finish there is looking really cool. And as we'll see, as we dive into articulation, he has a few different soft parts on there, which is definitely quite interesting. It's a nice take on the design, and I feel like it's definitely capturing the essence of the figure really well. It would be cool to get a powered up version to match something like the manga cover though, with the blue coming all the way up through the neck into the skull as well later on. That could be a really fun powered up version with more accessories actually. But anyway, as a base Kaiju 8 version, I think yeah, that aesthetic is looking good, especially since there was one point I was a little bit concerned about thinking maybe a bit basic or plasticky. But at least for me, I'm actually, yeah, I'm definitely satisfied. But let me know in the comments below how you feel about the overall finish for this figure so far. But yeah, let's pop them off and check out their articulation. Now starting with the head straight away, I mean, getting a close look at it, the teeth coming through is really cool. But one thing you'll notice, when you move the head, it actually moves the teeth as well. And the faceplate is actually quite a unique design. It has a single peg underneath, so that will move around. So you can like swivel the head individually as well with a bit of articulation there. And then going forward, it's not too bad, but each of these individual armor plates will also move as well, which is cool. And then the left and right swivel is really nice. And yeah, going back, the spine of the head does limit a little bit, so not the greatest range of motion going back, but definitely forward and the side to side is nice. Now the shoulder range here, again, up is really nice. Coming forward, we do have a very mini butterfly joint, but however, despite that, the range on this is really nice. We can swivel all the way around and cross the arms, which is great. Going back as well, really nice range of motion, and everything is being super fluid. We get the bicep swivel, but the elbow joint is very nice. It does allow for some really nice poses for doing a punching stance and so forth. Now coming into the midsection here, just one thing to point out, each one of these individual ribs is soft, which is really cool. And then going forward, really good motion. Going back as well, you need to fiddle around a little bit more, but we'll swivel back. But on the back here, each one of these spine plates will move individually as well, which is really cool. So it does allow for some really cool motion there, and due to the split, it allows you to swivel all the way around. You just have to be careful with these flaps, just make sure you kind of get them in the right spot, otherwise they might hit. And, you know, gaps will open up depending on the pose you're going for. But obviously depending on the angle, you won't notice it, which is good. And then coming down to the legs, we get the upper thigh swivel, but then we also get another one just down a little bit below. So it does give you a nice range of motion there. Going forward is really good, and since this is soft, it will bend and flex out of the way. You can angle it so we'll go underneath as well if needed. But yeah, overall, due to that soft rubber, yeah, you know, even going back is really nice, but that forward motion is really good, can kick all the way up. However, due to the design of this character and the upper, you know, the thigh parts here, the splits is definitely limited on this one. We can push and it'll bend and it'll flex out of the way a little bit. So it's not too bad, especially compared to older figures. But if you want to compare it to some new releases or some crazy articulated figures, the splits is a little bit more limited. But you know, the design of this figure kind of goes against that. But an actual use and, you know, posing and playing with it, I haven't found it to be a limiting factor, but it is still worthwhile pointing out for those wondering. However, knee joint is really good, and then again with the ankle we get nice, you know, the roll forward, you know, pivot, tilt, swivel, whatever you want to call it. It has all the motion there, which is really good. Very reminiscent of the Naruto figures, which is great to see. The toe tip design is all good, you know, stock standard there. But overall, the articulation of this figure is really good and aesthetically pleasing as well. You know, obviously if you really push it to its limits, some gaps will open up underneath, but that's kind of to be expected, especially with a lot of figures. But the thing that I love about this is, you know, how all these individual spines look and move as well. So cool. And then the extra double swivel on the thigh there, it has been pretty useful for getting them into some poses. So let's take a close look at those faces, and yeah, the base one, very straightforward neutral, looking straightforward. The lines of the, you know, around the eye socket with the black is really crisp and clean, and same for the sculpting for the teeth. And then, you know, the swirly green eyes is really cool, and the fact that the colour matches with the body is good. So yeah, as we saw before though, we can just easily pop the faceplate off and then attach the second one. Now this one here is the mouth open one, a bit more of a maniacal laughter one. He kind of has that laugh in the series, which is quite funny when he's kind of like going, what the hell's going on? So definitely really cool to see. And actually there's some bonus faces coming with the other figures, which is nice. So it's kind of similar to the One Piece line where we'll kind of get, I guess, upgrade faceplates for this figure, which is definitely cool to see. So the next face is very similar to the first one, however this one he's looking off to the left. Even the teeth I think are in a subtly different location as well. If I get the original one here, yeah, so even the teeth are kind of moved as well, which is quite cool to see. I've definitely found this faceplate useful for when doing like a punch attack pose or anything like that, since he is just looking off to the side. And then finally, man, I'm so glad they've added in this face, the kind of white pupil goofy look. Again, if you haven't seen the series, it is actually pretty funny, especially the earlier chapters while they are still introducing the characters. So yeah, I love the fact that we got this goofy face. It really does bring the character to life. The tongue is just poking up in there, so it's really nice to see the sculpt. All the teeth are clean as well. So to switch over the parts, just pop that fist off, and then the lower arm will just slot off as well. One thing that is really cool is there is a shape to it. One side has a little wee, I guess, the corner cut off, so you can align it up and then slot it on and then just reattach the fist. So really easy to do for both the arm and leg, and with the leg you just get a nice grip on the bottom, it'll pop off, and again we have one corner cut off, so all you have to do is line up the shapes, and then again for the leg just pop off the foot, and then that will give you access to the base leg to switch over. Once you have the leg on, again just take the spikes. Each one has a unique design, so you just have to again line up those shapes and slot it in. Actually, did I get it around the right way? Yeah, there we go. And like so. Okay, so we've got him in a very basic pose here using that blast arm and foot. Definitely really cool. A little bit further to get into the right pose. I definitely feel like this figure, as I've mentioned in a couple of videos a while ago, some figures are super easy to pose, others take a little bit more to get into the right pose where they look good. You know, angles look better than others. I feel like for this pose, looking kind of top down is a little bit better than straight on, but definitely a lot of fun, and it looks really good when you spend the time to move each one of those individual joints to get the pose looking just right. So I've got him in the basic there, one foot down, other foot up, just did a massive punch and doing a follow through. Oh, he just fell over. So yeah, as I mentioned, quick pose here. Really cool. You can balance him pretty well on one foot, but my table here is a little bit wobbly when I do hit it. So, but anyway, check him out. He just looks so cool. The fact that you can articulate him all the way around due to the soft parts really makes it a pleasure to play with, especially with the extra joint in the leg there. We can sort of fly on the bottom, the top. It definitely helps to get him into these more exaggerated poses where he's definitely lunging forward or twisting his body right around. So we switched out the hands here for the more gripping ones and put on that goofy shot face. This is so good, so priceless. I love the way it looks. Definitely, you know, he's a figure that you can have fun with. Action, comedy, serious, goofy. The only thing he's missing is, you know, a sad face, you know, a crying one, or, you know, a little bit more of an emotional face would have been pretty cool. But you know, this here is still really fun. The fact that we got the goofy face is definitely the icing on the cake for me. So Kaiju 8, Full Power Goku, and the Naruto from the you know, revival line here for a size comparison, and damn, you can see straight away how much taller Kaiju 8 is. I mean, his shoulders basically in line with Naruto's head and Goku's head. He is a beast. I mean, the top of his thighs there are all ready to basically just underneath the upper torso articulation for Naruto, and I think it is basically in line with Goku's. Yeah, look at that, it goes above Goku's mid-center point for articulation. So this is a beast of a figure in terms of size. Maybe one of the taller base. Actually, yeah, I can't really say tall because, you know, Second Form, Frieza, King Cold, those ones are huge as well, and you know, Broly. But I feel like as a normal, more of a human base character, I mean, yeah, he's, hey, this is a hard one, right? Because he is human, but not anymore, so I guess transformed, so he gets bigger. It'll be really interesting to see what happens when they, or if they release a base form, Kafka actually, and how his size will compare with his transformed version. So coming into the pros and cons now, So straight away the Pro, I think they've nailed the design and finish for Kaiju 8. I'm loving the colouring of the face or the skull and the spine. I was worried it was going to be a bit cheap and plasticky looking, but they have managed to maintain the look. Now if you've seen something like, I think it's the Kyoto statue, which is about 40,000 yen, that thing looks amazing. They've gone for like the realistic weathered skull type of a finish, which looks amazing, and it'll be really cool to see a Figuarts with the same effect, though that would be costly. So I feel the end result that we've gotten here from probably the base plastic colouring has really achieved a great result for the figure, and it hasn't made me kind of feel like it is cheap and nasty. Now I've got the little wee gacha figure here. I think this one here also did a really good job. I feel like these are pretty similar. This one does have a bit more of a matte finish, which is nice, and lighter grey opposed to the darker, but I do prefer the darker on the actual Figuarts here. And then you have the blues popping really well too, so aesthetically speaking, really good. Articulation, really good. Like I mentioned earlier, the only real limiting point is the fact that you can't do the full split, but I don't really feel like it's been needed or required so far. I haven't had any hindrances while articulating this figure. Definitely very enjoyable on that front. The new design choices for the ankles, the soft parts for the ribs, really cool. Even on the lower part, really nice. Again, having that extra flexibility in there works really well, especially when posing. And you know, on the back here, just, I don't know, it's so nice looking compared to other figures. You know, I guess it is because, you know, most figures are just plain base plastic on the back. Like, you know, Naruto does have a bit more design, so not too bad. But Kaiju 8 here definitely captures the light beautifully on his back with all the spines, the black, the texture, the green, really cool looking. Now for faceplates, really nice. We get, you know, the side looking goofy one. The accessories of the exchangeable, or the changeable arm and leg for the his big attack. That is cool. Although I do feel like overall this figure, the biggest con for me is the lack of accessories. That one is nice, but you kind of forced to do that one pose. It's not really a flexible accessory. It is pretty cool, but I might have probably preferred additional hands, maybe some different face plates, maybe like when he does a punch, sometimes you see that kind of lightning, maybe some type of effect to attach on, maybe a kind of aura effect. You know, actually, the peeing nipple comic effect would have been amazing. But you know, what we did get is nice. He is a little bit slim, but it is really cool that the future releases will have additional faceplates. I think the one that comes with Nemo has his tongue sticking out. It looks really cool. So looking forward to those, and especially if they continue down the line, if we get more additional faceplates for this figure or other accessories. But you know, first, the kind of, you know, gripping hand, it does cover basically everything that you'd want from him. But maybe like the finger spread one, or like a kind of more of a holding grip could have been nice, or a bit more of a martial arts one, though he doesn't really use them too much in this series, but a little bit more variety in the hands would have been nice. Now these are small cons, but I feel like overall the figure is solid if you're a fan of the series, or even if you think this figure just looks badass, which he is. Definitely grab him, and I highly recommend picking up the other characters as well. Now, speaking of other characters, at least for me, I am after Kikoru Shinomiya, and also Soshiro Hoshina. Those two in particular I'm really looking forward to. I hope we get them, because I really want Hoshina with his bit of a spoiler, but he kind of has a power later on, has a really badass suit. Now that version would be amazing, and I'm hoping the line does really well to get to that point. So everyone, go buy the Kaiju 8 figures, just for my selfish needs of wanting to get all the characters going forward. But yeah, that is it for the review. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop lots of comments, like, subscribe, do all that normal YouTube-y stuff. But yeah, there's it. So again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, cheers!